Hi everyone, welcome to the Tanja Kraus Horsemanship Monday Night Live show. Tonight we're going to be talking about goals and what we're hoping to achieve by the end of 2017. So as Facebook starts to tell you all that I'm live and we can all start tuning in, I'll just start having a little chat. Hey Rachel, hope you made it home pretty well, and I hope the little fella wasn't too tired when he got home after the course. And I hope he put that stick down as well that he kept chasing me with, the little bugger. So as everyone starts to roll in, please hit the invite button. Hey Veronica, how you going? Let people know that we're live, and invite anyone that you think might be interested. And I'm going to apologize in advance for tonight. You can probably all see I'm a little bit disheveled. And hey Leah, and I'm feeling pretty tired. Hey Tanja, how you going? I've literally been in transit all day today. I arrived at Townsville Airport this morning at 7 o'clock, and I've just walked in my front door. So I've had about 12 hours in transit. I've had 3 flights today, and I had 3 flights on Friday on my way up there. And I spent the weekend teaching an awesome Liberty clinic over the weekend, which I'm really excited about. They just seem to get better and better. Hey Lisa. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was, I thought it was really fitting to talk tonight about goals and goal setting, because we're pretty much smack bang halfway through the year. And I know that in January I spoke to a lot of people about, hi Kylie, I'm in beast mode. That's what I call it. I say to everyone, I'm just in beast mode, and that, I just keep going until until something makes me stop. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm okay. I love it. Leah's telling me to suck it up. See, that's it. You'll be right. I will be all right. And I love what I do. So I'm very, very blessed in that regard. As I was saying, we're in June, we're halfway through the year. I spoke to a lot of people in January about their goals and what they were hoping to achieve by the year. Rachel, I hope it gets better for you. We had this last week, but then I had tons of people message me and say that it was fine for them. So I don't know, maybe you need to have a particular level of internet or whatever. Yeah, Hillary's saying it's okay for her. Same thing happened last week. We had a heap of people say it wasn't any good, and then we had a heap of people say that it was just fine for them. So I think that it just depends on where you are and what your Wi-Fi signal's like. So I hope that you can either tune in tonight, or you can get the replay tomorrow when you might have a little bit more better signal. So tonight I thought, perfect time of year. We're 6 months down. It's a really good time of year to reevaluate, review, reevaluate, and refocus on our goals. I know that I personally change, I'm not going to say often, but I like to say that I'm ever evolving, and my training's ever evolving, and my philosophy's ever evolving, and my priorities as a result of those things change all the time. So whilst I might have had a particular goal at the beginning of the year, by now I might look at that goal and go, you know what, I don't even want to do that anymore. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. It doesn't align with my philosophy anymore. Maybe it's just not a priority. It sounded like a good thing at the start of the year, and now we sort of look at it and go, that just doesn't do it for me anymore. So I thought that this time of year was a really good time to sort of look at that and go, okay, we've got 6 months. We've still got plenty of time until the end of 2017. To really get stuck into any goals with our horses. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the importance of goals. And from a psychological human perspective, I'm not a psychologist, I don't claim to be, but there's a lot of research behind the fact that goals are very motivating for human beings. It's really important in any relationship. One of the fundamental things that keeps humans going and motivated and inspired is growth and progress. So I feel that if we don't have growth and progress within our relationship with our horses, that's when we can start to think, why am I doing this? We get a little bit uninspired, or we get a little bit unmotivated, and it just feels like we're not getting anywhere with our horses. And we don't necessarily have to have these huge goals of riding Grand Prix, even though that would not be a problem, that's not a bad thing. We don't have to have these huge goals of riding at the Olympics or anything like that, but I think it's really important to have those stepping stones that we want to achieve with our horses. Rachel's back. Good to hear. So progress and having a goal and a focus is very important just for human beings on a psychological level in all areas of our life, relationships, work, anything like that. Whenever a human being feels like they're stagnant or not going anywhere, that's when we're going to start to become unmotivated, I guess. So very important for us to have little stepping stones that are, giving us something to strive towards. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was just some important notes about goal setting. So I've run a couple of goal setting courses, and I've done goal setting in terms of like within courses, so advancing courses or 5 or 10 day courses, depending on what time of the year that they have been. I've spoken a little bit about goals. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on how to set goals that are beneficial for us, instead of just having an idea in our head and we just say, yeah, I've got goals, I've got it up here. And 5 years later, we've still got the same goal because it's just sitting in our head and we haven't actually done anything to go towards it. So the first thing that's important to note when we're talking about setting goals is the language that we use. All of our goals should be written down. For a start, every goal that we have should be written down, because there's something about putting pen to paper that switches it into a area of importance in our brain, if we like. But the second thing I want to focus on in regards to the language is that the language needs to be positive. Instead of writing something like, I want to get out of the trot, or I want to start riding my horse, or I want to do this, we need to write it in language that is got a positive end to it. So I will be cantering smoothly. I will be riding my horse confidently. It's got to be in a positive tone. So that's the number one thing that I wanted to note in regards to the language that we use when we are writing goals down for our horses. Precision is very important. So as I said, I'm not a psychologist, but I do like to read a lot of literature on the human brain, and precision is very important to us, to make things very clear to us what we're trying to achieve. So instead of I want to be cantering, it'll be I will be cantering confidently and smoothly. So precision is really important. There's canter and then there's canter. So I can get you to canter tomorrow, but it might not be the canter that you're picturing in your head. So it's very important to be descriptive in regards to our goals and what we're trying to achieve. So the next one is being specific in regards to our goals. So instead of, and I'm using canter as a goal because a lot of people have that goal. So I think it's really easy for people to relate to that. And hopefully you can use that example and apply it to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve within your own horses and within your own personal goals. So being specific, I will be cantering confidently and smoothly by December 31, 2017. So you've got to be specific in what you're trying to achieve and when you're trying to achieve it. Being realistic in regards to the time frame is also something that's vital when it comes to goal setting. Wanting to be a Grand Prix rider is a fantastic goal, but it's not something that's going to happen in 6 months' time. So having Grand Prix riding as a goal is fantastic, but then you need to take that back and break it down into smaller achievable chunks. So whilst Grand Prix might be a goal for 10 years time or 5 years time, depending where you're at in your training schedule, you need to come back to that and not only measure the levels. So you might say, obviously there's Pre-St. George and Intermediate and Medium and Elementary and Novice and Prelim and all those things when it comes to dressage that you can sort of use as stepping stones along the way. So you need to be realistic in terms of, I might want to be a Grand Prix rider in 10 years, but what am I actually going to achieve by December 31? Is it preparatory? Is it prelim? Is it novice? Is it elementary? Where am I at in my training, and what's a realistic goal for 6 months away? Celebrating each step along the way, and the more that you can break down the steps, the quicker you'll be celebrating. Celebrating is very important because whilst it's motivating for the human brain to have progress or have a goal, it can be very demotivating if we feel that goal is miles in the future and we're not heading towards it. So it's really important to break those goals down into little chunks and go, okay, well, you know, if my goal is writing a prelim test in December, you know, what's the goal for next month? Maybe being able to, you know, walk and trot and canter in a dressage arena, and then the month after that it'll be starting to ride patterns, and then the month after that it'll be accuracy, and so on and so forth. So the more that you can break it down, the quicker you'll be celebrating and recognizing the achievements that you and your horse have made together. Hey Hannah, staying motivated is important through the goal setting process, and acknowledging that there may well be setbacks during the year. I love cantering too, Sarah. It is a really cool thing when you get to that stage with your horse, so it's really fun. Staying motivated, life sometimes gets in the way, particularly with our horses, and it even for someone like me who professionally uses horses for a living and works with horses for a living, my own horses sometimes get put on the back burner. I've just spent 4 days away in Townsville. I've come home, and then this weekend I'm going to have another course that I go away for 4 days on, and then next weekend I've got another course, and then for the month of July I'm heading to the UK for a full month. So my horses don't come with me for the UK trip. Most of the trips, 1 or 2 of my horses will come with me. So you have to be prepared for setbacks, and be prepared to not just throw everything away, just refocus the goals. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. Revision of our goals. So I like to have goals written down, maybe in the front of your diary, or maybe they'll be the screensaver on your phone. Maybe you can laminate something and put them up in the shower or in the bathroom or on the mirror or somewhere where you're going to see them every day, so you can just see on a regular basis, oh, yep, that's what I'm aiming for. Yep, that's what I'm aiming for. Writing them down is a really big step, but then actually having that somewhere where you're looking at it regularly has a huge impact on achieving your goals. Monitoring your goals and asking yourself what you have done each day. It can be a really simple thing. I don't want this to come across like you've just turned this into this huge pressure for yourself, but just laying in bed before you go to sleep at night and go, okay, well, you know, what did I do towards my goal today? Oh, I wasn't able to do anything because I was flying all day. I was on 3 separate planes today, so I wasn't able to do anything with my horses. Okay, that's fine, no worries at all. And then tomorrow I'll say, oh, well, I was able to go down to the paddock and do some ground exercises or bring my horses up or whatever it is that I choose to do tomorrow. So having that little bit of a touch base with yourself every night before you go to bed, what did I do towards my goals, can reset it in your mind and motivate you to go out the next day and try and get something achieved with your horses. Sharing your goal with a positive goal buddy can really go towards helping you achieve your goals and keeping you motivated, because you'll have that person who in a positive way is going to say, oh, hey, you know, how's you going with the cantering? You know, have you done anything towards that, etc., etc. So it's just, you've got a bit of an accountability buddy, but it's also someone who's going to positively support you. Sharing your goals with just random people and even negative people is not going to help, because they're going to, you know, come out with all the negative Nancy stuff that we've all heard a million times. So pick who you're going to share it with, but sharing can have a really positive impact on it. We spoke about this already a bit, but breaking it down into manageable pieces. So I look at my end goal and then I break it down into as many small pieces as I possibly can. And this makes it very, very achievable for me. And then the last thing that I've got as a note is a meditation minute. So each night when we go to bed, we think about how achieving our goal is going to make us feel. Because what happens when we start to focus on how we're going to feel is we get endorphins and things like that running around our body, and we stay motivated into achieving that goal because we've just shown ourselves this picture of what it's going to feel like when we finally achieve that goal. And that's just another way that we can stay a little bit motivated, especially when we're so busy that often we won't have every single day to actually physically do something with our horses, but just that little visualization technique can keep us on track for that. So Hillary's saying she was scared to write down what she wanted to do with Oscar, which I think was cantering in a group, I'm going to say. And this was a horse that when I met Hillary, she was never, ever going to ride ever again. And so for her to actually write that down was really daunting, to say that I really want to achieve that. And she did write it down and she did achieve it, and she has done it on multiple occasions now. We've got lots of photos of her cantering around the group with Oscar, and both of them are very happy in regards to that. So Hillary is one of our success stories. Lisa Roberts would be a great accountability buddy. Abby, I think. Biggest goal is coming into being than all the small chunks. Absolutely. I mean, you know, that's what collectively adds up to make that big goal. So that's what we're all trying to achieve. So they're just some notes in regards to goal setting and just the language that we're going to use and some tips to be successful when it comes to setting our goals. Hey Beck, how you going? And now I want to talk about maybe some of us had goals written down at the beginning of the year. If you didn't, stick with us, because obviously you won't be able to review your goals, but then we're going to talk about evaluation of goals and refocusing on goals. So hopefully you'll get some important information about that. So initially when we're talking about reviewing our goals, the first thing we want to do is have a look at our goal sheet and look at what we've actually what we have achieved. So if we had sat down at the beginning of the year and we'd written out a number of things that we wanted to achieve with our horses, some of us are going to have goals written down that we have actually achieved. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that, and not only acknowledge it, but actually go and celebrate it. So I know that, you know, over the last few months, I've heard from people that have I know that there were people who haven't ridden bareback for a long time, and so we've done that over the last couple of weeks. I know that there's people who have competed for the first time in the cowboy dressage on the weekend, so that would have been a goal on their goal sheet. So no matter what your goals were, once you achieve them, sometimes we can be a little bit hard on ourselves and we can go, oh yeah, I've done that, tick it off. It's really important, in order to keep us motivated, for us to go out and actually celebrate that. And your celebration could be celebration at home, or you might go out for dinner, or you might, you know, I don't know, whatever makes you feel like that you have acknowledged something and celebrated something. It is a really important psychological part of the goal setting process, because if you don't celebrate what you've already done, then you're demotivated to continue setting goals. And that goes for any type of goals. I mean, we're particularly talking about horses right now, but certainly if you've got financial goals or relationship goals or holiday goals or whatever it is, anything that you've done in regards to achieving those goals, it's important to go out and celebrate, and certainly tick off the ones that you have already done. I think it's important to read our goals and make a decision as to whether we still actually want to achieve those things. I read a really interesting comment or article once, and I'm a person that when I start something, I feel like I need to finish it. And I'll relate this to reading books. And I sort of feel like if I've started a book, that I'm sort of obligated to finish it. And I read an interesting article that was basically saying, you know, it's okay to not finish that book if that book isn't resonating with you, because the time that you spend reading that book is time that you could be spending reading a book that actually resonates with you and makes sense to you. And that might sound like a really funny thing to say, you know, if you don't like it, put it down, that's for sure. But some of us, and I know I have been conditioned to, when you get something started, you should finish it. So I'm, you know, I've got this big stack of books next to my bed, and some of them I'm not that fascinated with, but I kind of feel like, I want to finish them and make sure that I finish that. So it's okay to look at your goal sheet and think to yourself, I don't actually want to do that anymore. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. Maybe your philosophies have changed. Maybe the way that you consider your horse has changed. Maybe you look at your horse, maybe you've got a young horse and you go, you know what I had set out for this particular horse, I don't think is appropriate anymore for his or her level of education or schooling or his personality or you know, what aligns with me right now today. So, you know, maybe at the beginning of the year, for example, you might have had a competition in mind that you wanted to attend, and now you're sort of thinking, you know what, competitions aren't really resonating with me at the moment. I'm not interested in competing. So go ahead and change that goal and cross it off your list, reevaluate or review and make something else up. When it comes to reviewing our goals, some of you who have done workshops with me would know this information, but those of you who haven't, I'm just going to run through the acronym of SMART. So when we're goal setting, and this is in business or life or anywhere, what we talk about is having SMART goals. So S is for specific and significant. M is measurable and meaningful. A is attainable and action orientated. R is relevant and rewarding. And T is time bound and trackable. So if you don't have SMART goals, if your goal doesn't tick all of those boxes for you, you're going to be less motivated to achieve that goal. And when you think about those things, specific and significant, measurable and meaningful, you know, if you look at that goal and it's not meaningful to you, maybe now you're going to look at it and go, why do I even want to do that? Who was I writing that goal down for? Was it for me? Was it for my horse? Was it to impress someone? Was it because that was the standard, or that was the normal, or because that's the crowd I was hanging around with, or whatever? Attainable and action orientated, relevant to you and rewarding to you. How are you going to feel when you achieve that goal? And time bound and trackable. So that's a SMART goal. So those of you who haven't looked at your goals and made sure that they're those, that's a cool little acronym that you can use to make sure that you're on track for making progress for what you want to achieve. When it comes to reevaluating your goals, we need to again take a look at maybe what we've achieved, and also if there's anything else that we want to add to the list. And maybe we're re-inspired, maybe we've seen something, maybe we've got a taste of something over the last couple of months where we think to ourselves, I wouldn't mind doing that. Maybe we can put that on our goal list. Okay, so reevaluating doesn't always mean only reevaluating our existing goals. It might mean that we're going to add stuff to our goal sheet that we can achieve by the end of the year. And even if it's not something that we can achieve by the end of the year, perhaps a step towards that big goal can be achieved by the end of the year. So that's something that we need to consider. If we're struggling with a goal, maybe we need to reevaluate them and consider if they need breaking down any further. So when it comes to maybe a competition or something like that, maybe we need to look at the end goal being the competition and backtrack on a monthly or even a fortnightly or even a weekly basis, the little tiny steps that can go towards achieving that goal for us. So that could be going to courses or getting coaching or riding schoolmasters or riding in an arena or just simply teaching our horse to float load or travel or whatever it is, you know, all those little things. You know, riding in a competition is a great goal, but what needs to go into that? You know, my horse needs to load on the float. My horse needs to be able to travel, not a problem. My horse needs to be okay and confident when he gets to the grounds. Taking him out for the very first time to a competition isn't highly recommended. So start doing little trips with him to strange areas so he can become accustomed to being away from home. So there's all those little things that go into achieving a goal and successfully and confidently achieving the goal. You know, you can tick off the box and say, yep, I went to my first competition. But if your horse was a nervous wreck, maybe we didn't approach it in the best way. Maybe we didn't preserve the horse when it came to our goals. And that's something else that we need to consider when we're reevaluating our goals is what's in it for the horse? What are we actually preserving, or what are we actually, you know, I've got nothing against competition. I mean, I compete, but I always think to myself, what's in it for the horse? You know, is the horse going to be confident? Is the horse going to be comfortable? Is the horse going to be calm? And if I can't answer yes to those questions, then maybe I need to reconsider what is actually driving and motivating me. The final thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was refocusing. It's really easy for us to have gone through our last months or weeks or whatever it is and look at our goals and think, man, I haven't even ticked one of these goals off. It's pointless. We're already half through the year. I don't have anything ticked off. I don't even have any little boxes ticked on my progress. So I'll just chuck it all out the window and I'll start again in 2018. There's no rule book that says that you need to set goals on the 1st of January. It's just a traditional thing that we do when we yell Happy New Year's. We set all these New Year's resolutions. You know, the first step of any mountain is the step that you take today. Okay, making the decision, and then tomorrow taking a step towards buying running shoes, and then the next day booking going for a walk, and the next day booking a lesson with a personal trainer, or that would obviously be a personal goal. But it's all of those little steps along the way that can be achieved. Don't put it off for another 6 months. Don't say, oh, well, I'll start that in January 2018. You can get a really good head start on your goals right now by sitting down, refocusing and going, I've got 6 whole months. I can make some real progress in the next 6 months when it comes to me and my horses. Let go of any of the beating yourself up. Okay, it's really easy to sit down and look at my list of goals and go, oh, I haven't done it, and oh, I've been busy, and oh, I can't concentrate on that, and I haven't had the time, and my life doesn't permit it. That's not helping you, it's not helping me, it's not helping anyone. Sitting there and beating ourselves up in regards to not having done something, it's a pointless exercise. So we need to acknowledge, okay, first half of the year's been pretty challenging, haven't been able to get anything done. Okay, refocus, let that go. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's go ahead and restart and take the steps towards our goal, achieving our goals by the end of the year. Sit down with your diary, reschedule in some training time, and, like I say, book some lessons or book into some clinics or whatever it is that's going to help you achieve your goals, and put it in the diary as a priority, and refocus on what you're wanting to achieve by the end of the year. So I'd love to hear what some of your goals are. Go ahead and put it in the comments. I'd love to see what some people are doing. I'm always interested in what people are wanting to do with their horses. For me, I get really inspired by some of the things that people come up with when it comes to training and interacting with their horses. So please put in the comments anything that you would like to share. We'll certainly help you be accountability. We'll be your accountability buddies. I'm sure the TKH peeps watching and be happy to be accountability buddies with each other. If anyone's got some really cool stuff that they want to share, you might help someone else set some goals. Rachel's saying she's so good at beating herself up. It's pointless, you know that, and I bet you tell all of your students that. I know that we're absolutely terrible as trainers and coaches and things like that. We'll tell our students one thing and then we'll go home and say, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. And we need to practice what we preach. And that's build a bridge, get over it. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's start. So I'm sure that everyone would enjoy reading what everyone's goals are every day. Rachel, you're terrible. Stop it right now. And you might even motivate someone else. Someone might read your goal and say, that's really cool. I hadn't even thought of that. I want to achieve that with my horses. So I really like the horsey community. I think that we can really motivate and inspire each other, and I don't think that enough of it goes on. I think we're a really unique set of people, the horsey community, and I think we can really inspire and motivate each other when we put our minds to it. So please share, if you're wanting to, any of your goals. If you've got anything that you would like to see me cover in future Monday Night Lives. This happens every single Monday, and I'm always looking for topics that people are interested in watching. So please give me any ideas for topics that you have. If you would like an information sheet on tonight's show, please send your email to me privately. Don't put it in the comments. I do try and go through the comments, but as you can imagine, the videos do get up to a few thousand views and the comments are just constantly rolling in, so I don't always see every single one of them. Though I do try and check them. They mean a lot to me. I do appreciate when you guys comment. Please send me your email address via private message, so I'm able to just cut it out of your message and paste it into the email and send the information sheet straight to you. And follow Tanja Kraus Horsemanship on Facebook, and it will tell you when we're live, and it'll tell you when we've got events coming up and things like that. Every Wednesday we send out a newsletter with a different topic on it, and every Friday we upload a new video to our YouTube channel. So we are really focused and interactive on our social media, and of course every weekend I'm somewhere doing a course. This weekend I'm due on the Gold Coast, so if anyone on the Gold Coast would like to catch up or attend a clinic, please send us a private message and we'll get the information over to you straight away. Beck, what are you saying? Battle major anxiety with my horses, finally coming good and enjoying my horse again. My biggest goals are getting on the float, myself, and cantering. Yeah, absolutely. These are really cool things. Float loading for Kylie. You know, a lot of people, these are big challenging things for a lot of people. Float loading and cantering are probably two of the most common things that I see. And handling nerves in competition is another one that I see a lot. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. And I hope that tonight's talk is going to help refocus you and get you back onto your goals. Like I say, follow us across all of our social media accounts, and feel free to comment and message me and things like that. I love hearing your stories. I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's talk. I'm going to go ahead and wind down. As you can probably see, I'm starting to fade out. So I'm pretty impressed that I got through the whole talk. Hopefully it was coherent and it made sense, because I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's been okay since you guys have been interacting with me. Thank you once again for joining me on your Monday night. I really appreciate it. It is really it means a lot to me to have you guys here watching and talking to me while I'm doing the live. It just keeps me going, and you know, it makes it really fun for me knowing that you guys are here. And you guys that watch the replay afterwards, let me know where you're watching from. Last week, people were commenting from Tasmania and Rockhampton and Florida and Ohio, and it's just really fun to read those comments and see how far that Tanja Kraus Horsemanship is getting. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great evening and a great week, and I'll see you on the Gold Coast this weekend, those of you that come, and otherwise I'll see the rest of you either in internet land or in real life. So good night. Have a great week with your horses.